What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, and we give our takes on professional wrestling. It is Friday night, February 20th, 2026, and this is your Friday night SmackDown review right here on the Big Fight Field channel. SmackDown taking place live tonight from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and you had your good stuff and you had your bad stuff on the show that I most certainly didn't like. But I cannot, I'm going to call it how it is, like I always do, because, like I say in the opening of the Big Fight Field channel on here, we speak the truth and we're honest. Right, not just with SmackDown, but with the current WWE product overall, there is no spark at all. WWE, I don't know what they've got planned between now and WrestleMania, but they've got to act fast, man. I'm starting to lose faith. It's not like the show tonight. It wasn't bad. It was just, it was just so mid, and it felt lifeless a little bit. Like in the middle of the show, it felt lifeless, and you don't want to have that feeling on the road to WrestleMania. You just don't. And it's like they reverse roles. Like last week, Raw was okay, but it was very average. And then last week, SmackDown completely sucked. And then this week, Monday Night Raw completely sucked. And SmackDown was very average. And it was just very, very mid. And granted, they get 3 hours now on the USA Network, and they are showcasing a lot more people. And that is good for the talent that they were getting their TV time. Good for them, but it just feels so boring at points. Like I'm watching the show at 9:30, and I'm watching Tiffany Stratton versus Alba Fire, and I feel like I'm about to fall asleep. And then, like that whole second hour, it just felt like a complete drag. And I don't know, man. We have the Elimination Chamber next week, and it shouldn't be this way, but we are 8 days away from the Elimination Chamber taking place, and I can already tell you guys what's gonna happen. Like Cody Rhodes is gonna win the Elimination Chamber for the men's, and either Rhea Ripley or Tiffany Stratton is gonna win the women's Elimination Chamber. And there's no chance that Finn Balor is gonna beat CM Punk, and Becky Lynch is gonna beat AJ Lee. There's no there's no excitement. And it's not more that it's for the chamber, but it's for WrestleMania. WrestleMania is supposed to be the biggest show of the entire year, of the entire industry. And right now, it doesn't feel like it. Okay? So they've got 8 weeks. They've got let me see if I'm right with that. They've got like around 8 weeks to get their shit together for Las Vegas. Because if they don't, it's going to be a total abomination when we get to WrestleMania weekend. So, the the creative team, Paul Levesque, Triple H, they better get their shit together. They got to get their shit together, and that starts at the Elimination Chamber next week, because what has been happening right now these last couple of weeks is not good television. So, I appreciate you guys joining me. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Kiana James and Trick Williams, they qualify for their respective Elimination Chamber matches. That was both of those matches. I was surprised that the women's one was as good as it was, but I thought Kiana, Charlotte Flair, and Nia Jax. I actually thought they had a really good match, and then the guys, Damian Priest, Trick Williams, and Carmelo Hayes, they had their self a great match as well, and they really complemented each other well, and they had such good chemistry, and those two things were by far, I think, the best things on the show tonight. And we also had a very interesting backstage segment, which was going so well with Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. And then they had Sami Zayn turn around and be an absolute coward. And I hated that part. And we'll get there when we do. Um, so let's go ahead and get on the show. If you guys haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out my Monday Night Raw and my AEW Dynamite reviews right here on the Big Fight Field channel. We got a lot coming up, man. We got a lot coming up this week. It should be a fun week. I will be away next weekend in Tampa, Florida to go visit my uncle. So I will try my best to do an Elimination Chamber review. It's not guaranteed. But I will try my best. And if I do, it'll be a very short review. It'll probably be like around 20 minutes if I'm able to get to it. But we'll still have Raw on Monday, which they're advertising for a big show. We have the the ceremony for AJ Styles. I don't remember what they're calling it, but um, AJ Styles is going to be on the show Monday in Atlanta. Liv Morgan is going to make her decision for who she is going to challenge at WrestleMania, and then the return of Brock Lesnar. So we have a big Monday Night Raw coming up Monday night in Atlanta. We have AEW next week, and then we have SmackDown on Friday, and then if I'm able to get to it, the Elimination Chamber on Saturday. So subscribe to the channel because we got some fun stuff coming up. And, without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into this show. Cody Rhodes opened up the show. He qualified for the Elimination Chamber last week, and he was barely able to get out any words because he was interrupted immediately by Jacob Fatu. And Jacob Fatu says, "You need to understand that you were lucky that you were able to qualify for the chamber. Because not only did I have Sami Zayn beat, but I had you beat. I should be standing here and I should be going to the Elimination Chamber. But you're not my worry right now. My worry and my concern is on Drew McIntyre and Drew McIntyre only." And then Aldis came out, and Nick Aldis had a couple security guards try to take away Jacob Fatu. And Aldis was like, "I even told Drew McIntyre to take the night off." And then all of a sudden, we hear Drew McIntyre up in the press box, cutting a promo. He said, "I appreciate you giving me the night off, but truth be told, I love the WWE Championship so much, and I love SmackDown so much that I bought myself a box seat for the entire show tonight." He could probably afford it because he's getting paid millions and millions of dollars, but nowadays, with TKO running WWE, you're paying about $250 to sit in a box seat, which is an absolute ridiculous price. But, I mean, Drew McIntyre's a millionaire. He can afford it. So Jacob Fatu is not bullshitting around. He's trying to get up there and go attack Drew McIntyre. And security and Nick Aldis, they take away Jacob, and he's like, "You'll get your hands on him. Be patient. Be patient." And then Drew cuts a promo laughing, and he says, "Everybody wants to get their hands on Drew McIntyre because I'm the champ. Everybody wants to get Drew McIntyre's attention because I'm the champ. Everybody wants to wrestle Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania because I'm the champ. And I have everybody's full blown attention." And then Cody Rhodes gets on the microphone and he says, "No, we're not trying to get our hands on you because you're the champ. We're trying to get our hands on you because you're an asshole." So that was the opening segment to SmackDown. Um, it was fine. It wasn't anything too crazy. It was your typical start to a WWE show. Promo and then a big brawl. It wasn't that big of a brawl. There was no brawling because security actually did their job this time. Except the first ones that got beat up by Jacob Fatu. Then there was a second group of security that came in and somewhat did their job. But I got nervous a little bit because last week I got nervous because I thought they would do the possibility of doing Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre at Elimination Chamber, and then Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. I would have absolutely hated that. But knowing WWE and knowing the way Triple H has booked WWE since, like, I don't know, October, I wouldn't have been surprised. But we didn't get that, thank goodness. And it's starting to feel more and more that your triple threat, your night one main event. I don't know when it's gonna get announced, but your night one main event is gonna be Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, and Drew McIntyre for the WWE title. And when we get that announcement, that's great. Now they're gonna have to follow it up and like, all right, you've got a couple weeks to get us excited for this match. So we'll see what they do because right now I'm not feeling it. With Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre again, Jacob Fatu is the wild card in this one. And again, I'm still a little bit upset that Cody won last week. They could have done this storyline and they could have had the roles reversed. Jacob Fatu could have been in the Elimination Chamber, and Cody Rhodes could have been the one trying to get his way back to the WWE Championship. Uh, we went from that to Tama Tonga versus Ilya Dragunov, and man, the drop off of Ilya Dragunov in the last 4 months. Okay, this guy came back nearly 4 months ago and beat Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. He was the champion for 2 months. He lost to Carmelo Hayes, and he's absolutely dropped off. And they have absolutely cooled down Ilya Dragunov, and I hate that. I absolutely hate that. And he lost clean to Tama Tonga because they made him. He got outnumbered by the MFTs, and then Solo cut a promo after the match, and he says, "We're not playing around. We have the tag team titles. We have the Wyatt Six Lantern. Carmelo Hayes better be on alert." And then they made Dragunov look like a fucking idiot, trying to attack five guys at once. And they got geeks running down. Matt Cardona destroyed in 20 seconds. Apollo Crews destroyed by Talatunga in 20 seconds. And then Solo goes for the spike on Ilya Dragunov. and the Wyatt Six pop up on the screen. And Howdy is cutting a promo. Whatever gibberish shit he's going to say this week. And the last thing he said was, the next time I walk down to that ring, I'm going to be alone. The question is now, Solo, will you? And they confirmed it right before the main event that next week we're getting Solo Sikoa versus Uncle Howdy on Smackdown. This is by far, not even close, the worst feud in the WWE. The MFTs versus the Wyatts. This hocus pocus, dark, spooky characters in 2026, it just doesn't work for me anymore. It was the last time I was into and actually invested into a dark, scary, spooky character was Bray Wyatt the Fiend 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It's just so outdated. And to their credit, WWE absolutely nailed the debut of the Wyatts 2 years ago. But then they cooled them off. And then they kind of got them back, and then they were hurt and dealing with a lot of stuff. And then they came back on the TV last year, around April. And a couple months later, they won the tag team titles. And since September, okay, 5 months, the Wyatt Six have been feuding with the MFTs. And not only is it the worst part of SmackDown, it has absolutely killed all momentum the Wyatts had. And it has killed all momentum the SmackDown Tag Team division had in the summer. They wiped all that away for this feud. And it was cool when they had their first interaction. The feud was good for about 2 months. And now this feud has just gone on 3 months too long. They've got the Wyatts wrestling on main event now. They're completely ass. They suck. The entire group doesn't have a good wrestler outside of maybe Joe Gacy. And I'm tired of this. I just hope that next week, like this feud doesn't need the tag team titles anymore. This feud never needed the tag team titles. They're fighting over the lantern. I just hope that next week, Howdy wins, he gets his lantern back, and we just move on. And we can actually have the MFTs defending the titles against good quality tag teams and using the SmackDown Tag Team division instead of having them mock Johnny Gargano for months. This is the type of shit I'm talking about. This shit sucks. So hopefully this feud is over next week and it doesn't drag on for another 2 months. We had a Jade Cargill promo giving a warning to Liv Morgan before she makes her decision on Monday before WrestleMania, Raw is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. Jade Cargill resides from Atlanta, so she will be in attendance for Liv Morgan's decision Monday night on Raw. Charlotte came out and interrupted her once she was leaving, told Jade to get out of her face. This led to Charlotte, Nia Jax, and Kiana James. I was surprised. I was surprised. They had a really good match. And how often do you hear me say on this channel that Nia Jax and Charlotte are having really good matches? Because I absolutely despise Charlotte Flair. And Nia Jax is just one of the worst wrestlers in the world. But tonight, they had themselves a good match. And they did the unthinkable, and they did the unthinkable ending with Charlotte having the figure eight in on Nia Jax, and Kiana James rolls in from underneath, cradles Charlotte, and Kiana James is going to the Elimination Chamber, which good for her because she had out of 30 women, there were 4 women that had good performances in the Royal Rumble. She was one of them. I thought she stood out in the Royal Rumble. She lasted from number 3 to number 18, I think it was. And, they could have went with the safe route again and had Charlotte win, but they didn't do that. And that's what I like. We don't need to see Charlotte and Nia Jax in these matches all the time. So Kiana wins, and Kiana James is going to Elimination Chamber. Oh God. I know I'm gonna, just like with the MFT stuff and how I was sort of ranting about that, I know I'm gonna rant about this. So this is gonna take some time. Kit Wilson versus Oba Femi. May I remind you, these guys had a match 2 weeks ago already. Who asked to see this? Who requested to watch Kit Wilson versus Oba Femi again? So, the match starts, the bell rings, and you can't convince me otherwise that this is either Bruce Pritchard or the D-O-double-G, Road Dogg, writing this segment slash match. Kit Wilson runs outside the ring, grabs a microphone and his poem book, and he has a nice poem to say about Oba Femi. And then Oba, after that poem's over, tells him that he's very impressed, but he wants him to read another one. And Kit hesitates. And then Oba screams in his face to read another one. And this is one of Kit's poems talking trash about Oba Femi. So Oba obviously doesn't take lightly to this. Chops him, gives him 3 uppercuts, gives him the fall of grace, and he finally gets this match over with. I better not see another interaction this year between Kit Wilson and Oba Femi. This was easily the worst part of the entire show. This was either Bruce Pritchard or Road Dogg who wrote this segment, and The fact, like, why is Oba Femi in this garbage? What is this doing for Oba Femi? This does nothing. Putting Oba Femi with these fucking geeks, and he's wrestling The Miz next week. The Miz. We really can't give him better people than Kit Wilson and The Miz. What are we doing here? Seriously, what are we doing here? We've got Javon Evans and Trick Williams in the Elimination Chamber next week. So we're already off to a good start with them. We're not off to a good start with Oba Femi. We're not. But if we want to get off to a good start with Oba Femi, god damn it, he will confront Brock Lesnar on Monday night. So, I hated this. I hated everything about this. Tiffany Stratton against Alba Fire. I nearly fell asleep during that match. But Tiffany Stratton won with the prettiest moonsault ever. Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn. Okay, we've got to talk about this. So, Sami Zayn is backstage. And he's moping around again. And Cody comes up to him. And they were bickering back and forth. Sami Zayn said, I did the right thing by taking Drew out of the match. And here you are, scooping up my scraps, taking advantage, and hitting me with a crossroads. So you basically got the help from Drew McIntyre because you benefited from my Aluva kick. So don't say I didn't help you win that match. And Cody, he's starting to go off on Sami. He's like, this is where you're wrong. Until I don't hear a bell, until I don't hear Mark Nash say, here is your winner, until I don't hear the referee slapping 3, the match is not over. And you need to stop moping around here backstage every week, feeling bad for yourself. You lost at the Royal Rumble. You lost last week. You lost a bunch of other times. It's not other people's fault, man. It is your fault. The only person that's getting in your way is you. And Sami Zayn says, that's easy for you to say. You've had everything handed to you, Golden Boy. You're the QB1 of the company. You call the play. And he said, you were chosen to be the face of this company. You were chosen to finish your story. I've tried to finish my story for 10 goddamn years, and I've struggled to get there. You don't know a damn thing about that. And Cody says, struggle. Struggle. I struggled because I lost everything in Germany against Drew McIntyre with Jacob Fatu. But did I blame that on Jacob Fatu? I did not. And I'm working to get everything back. And you can too. But you've got to look at yourself in the mirror first. And you've got to blame yourself. So Sami, he's throwing a fit. And Trick Williams comes up to him. And he starts laughing. And he's like, looks like we blew another one, huh? And he's like, I'm going to do something that you weren't able to do last week. And I'm going to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. So, they should have ended the segment right there. If they ended the segment right there, I would have been like, wow. That was an awesome segment with Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Trick Williams. But they fucking ruined it. They fucking ruined it by Sami Zayn being a complete coward, running back to Cody, and he said, "Hey, you know what? You're right. I do have to look at myself in the mirror. You are right that it is only my fault that I lost last week." He says, "I know you're going to be the WWE champion again after WrestleMania. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when." And Cody says, "I can forgive, but I can never forget." They should have just said in the segment right after Trick Williams said he was going to qualify for Elimination Chamber. They did not need Sami Zayn running back to Cody Rhodes and claiming to Cody Rhodes that he was right. I thought that ruined the segment. I really did. And then we went to Carmelo Hayes, Damian Priest, and Trick Williams. And I thought they had a really good match. One thing positively that I will say is the past couple weeks, we have gotten really good qualifying matches for the men's matches. I thought the match that LA Knight qualified for against Penta and Austin Theory, I thought that was a great match. I thought the match on Monday with Gunther, Dominic Mysterio, and Javon Evans, I thought that was a great match. And then this was another one. Damian Priest, Carmelo Hayes, and Trick Williams. They had themselves a great fucking match. And they told a good story, callback to the Trick Mello gang, and Damian Priest with his role being the veteran of this match and just seizing the opportunity, trying to take advantage of every little interaction that Carmelo and Trick had together. And in the end, Damian looked for the Razor's Edge, and Trick hit the trick shot onto Damian, and Trick Williams is going to the Elimination Chamber. So right now, as of Monday, we have one more spot left, and your men's chamber match is Randy Orton, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams. Very predictable, abso-fucking-lutely. Does it have potential to be a great match? Yes, it does. I will say that. And we have one more qualifying match on Monday, which is Bronson Reed, Jey Uso, and the OG El Grande Americano. So I would expect Bronson Reed to win that match. I hope to God it's not fucking Jey Uso, because I do not need to watch Jey Uso yeeting in the middle of the Elimination Chamber. I do not need to see that. But in WWE's mind, they made him yeet during War Games. They made him yeet during the Royal Rumble. So fuck, why not make him yeet during the Elimination Chamber? I would hate it, but it would be so WWE. Rhea Ripley versus Julia. This was supposed to be Io Sky versus Julia, but they changed their mind. Probably because what the finish was going to be, which was obvious from the get-go. A DQ finish with Nia Jax and Lash Legend, because they are setting up yet another tag team title match with Nia Jax and Lash Legend against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And that result is going to tell us everything we need to know about that women's Elimination Chamber match, because the only two realistic options to win that match is Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton. So, if Rhea Ripley and Io Sky retain the tag team titles, I expect Tiffany Stratton to win that Elimination Chamber match. However, if they drop the titles and Lash Legend and Nia Jax are the new women's tag team champions when we're talking this time next Friday night, I would expect Rhea Ripley to win the women's elimination chamber. And I would expect it to be Rhea Ripley versus more than likely Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. And then finally, the main event, Aleister Black versus Randy Orton. And I mean, fuck. It's like you can't even enjoy it because the match starts at 10:48. Okay? 10:50. We go right to commercial. And we come back at 10:53. And we get 6 minutes of fucking wrestling before the finish. What the fuck? You can't even enjoy it. So, it's like, I can't even say this was good because it was literally an 8-minute match. It was literally a 9-minute match in the main event of Smackdown. That's horrible. That's fucking horrible. So, Randy Orton was kicking this guy's ass. Besides one time, Aleister Black was doing a fucking chin lock at 10:54. And I'm like, my gosh, we just came back from fucking commercial and Aleister Black is out here doing chin locks. What are we doing? This match was poorly constructed. Poorly constructed. So, outside of the chin locks, Randy Orton was kicking this guy's ass. The entire match. He was just beating him. And beating him. And beating him. And beating him. And he gave him a draping DDT on the outside. And he throws him back into the ring. And I guess the ref was checking on Aleister from the DDT. And here comes Drew McIntyre. Title shot right to the face. Why he has a reason to attack Randy Orton, I have no idea. I have no idea, honestly. But he did. And I guess that was to make us believe that, hey, Randy Orton has a chance to win this Elimination Chamber match. So he's back in the ring. He eats a black mass. And Aleister Black gets the upset victory over Randy Orton in the main event of SmackDown. I would like to believe that this is going to lead to a good direction for Aleister Black on the road to WrestleMania. But the way he's been booked, I just feel like I don't know if I can trust this company. I don't know. Right now in its current state, I cannot trust Paul Levesque. I just can't. So, yes, picking up a win over Randy Orton in the main event of SmackDown is a big deal. But what's the follow-up? I don't know if I trust Triple H with the follow-up here. But as far as the match goes, I fucking hated it because we only got really like 7 minutes of wrestling in a 9-minute match. That main event was 9 fucking minutes. That's horrible. So, it wasn't a bad show. Wasn't a good show. It was just very fucking mid. And that's how WWE has been for the last 2 weeks. So, that's all I got. I'm out of energy. I'll see you guys Monday for Raw. Like the video, like the podcast. Comment down below your thoughts on the show. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Conlin_Joseph. And that's all I got for you. I will see you right here back on the Big Fred Fuel channel Monday night for Monday Night Raw. Peace.